All right, y'all. I have a project to get to. I have a Micans philodendron that I basically salvaged over the winter. I was pretty sure it was gonna die. I'm gonna show y'all what they look like, and then I'm gonna repot them. It is July in Central Texas. It's really hot, and I don't typically repot this time of year on outside plants, so I'm gonna leave this one inside. I have a master bathroom that has a huge southern facing picture window, and I'm just gonna keep it inside until it comes out from shock, because I think I'm gonna have to really pull it apart. But anyway, let me show y'all what those plants look like and what I'm planning to do. All right, so here's the first Micans. I've got it all rigged up on a moss pole that doesn't get wet. It is not exactly happy, but it's not exactly sad either. But I want it to become a hanging pot. I'm not getting a lot of success out of the trailing, or I'm sorry, the moss poles and trellising. So I'm gonna put it in a hanging pot. And then this plant here, I took from cuttings, actually from this plant, and it's just kind of sad. So they're really beautiful plants if you can get them to how you want them. They've got this shimmer that's almost holographic. I've got one outside that's real pretty, Love and Life, so I'd like to go ahead and do it. So here we go. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is unpot these plants, and I'm not going to reuse the soil because I've had them in here a while. This one's going to be relatively easy. This one's going to take forever, so I may fast forward, but you might see that I've got clips, Velcro, holding these together, so I'm just going to undo them and find the end. And actually, I can just pull this pole out. That's probably the easiest thing to do. And unwind these. So I'm gonna work on unwinding this plant, and then we'll come back. Okay, so I took all of the Velcro off, and I'm going to work to unwind this plant from its moss pole. There will be some casualties for sure. Just like I did here. It's gonna happen. I am going to keep these and propagate them. I never throw anything away. If there's any chance at all it's gonna take off, I'm gonna try it. So I'm gonna put these over here, and I'm going to work to unwrap these little by little. Some of them are gonna be stuck to the moss pole. And if you can see, there's these little tiny roots, and they stick to the moss pole, so I have to work at them, and they're gonna break off. That's just kind of part of it, and you just want to kind of work through it little by little by little. There's gonna be some vines on here that don't have any leaves at all, so it's gonna be really nice. We're gonna trim it up, give it a nice haircut, and get it looking really, really nice again. And whatever we lose, and I'll propagate what I can. So I'm just working through here and unhooking all the little aerial roots into this moss pole, and I took it out. So that's a pretty janky moss pole if you ask me, but it worked. So I'm gonna keep it, reuse it for a smaller plant, as long as I don't find any indication that this plant has had bugs or anything like that. So I don't see that happening. All right, so it's all tangled, which is fine. I don't really mind it being tangled very much. Down here, I'm looking through here, just looking for evidence of problems. And then I have a bucket over here that I'm gonna throw all the soil out in, because I'm not gonna reuse this soil. It's pretty stuck in there tight, so I'm gonna turn it upside down and gently push along the side of the pot. Some people say don't do this because it damages the roots, but I think pulling on them is worse. And I'm gonna really be stressing this plant out anyway. this isn't gonna make it too much more upset at me. Okay, I'm gonna work it loose. Put that pot there. It's just falling apart. It's super dry. Micans like it a little wet. They like it just a little wetter than this, which is probably why I've really struggled with it. But this is old soil. The soil has been this way for a couple of years. I think at least a couple of years. To get it all off is a good idea anyway. All right, I'm gonna put this over here for now. I'm gonna put all this in the compost bin. Again, only compost stuff that I know does not have disease or pests. Broke off. We're gonna propagate that little thing. Gonna keep that. And okay. So much for that one. This one's gonna be a little bit easier because it doesn't have a moss pole and it's younger. Get the oak leaves out for my tree. I love my tree very, very much, and it gives off lots of leaves almost all year round. Mostly in the spring, but for sure all year round. All right, I'm gonna do the same thing with it. Oh, look, it's a lacewing. These are beneficial insects. They eat aphids, which makes me start to wonder that this plant might have bugs. But it's not on the plant, it's on the side of the plant next to other plants. But I do use beneficial insects to take care of my pest problems. When my plants are outside, I don't have pest problems because I have lacewings out there. In the winter, when I bring them in, I do tend to have problems on my Hoya with aphids. But I just go and buy lacewings and turn them loose in the garage. This hole is very tiny, so I'm gonna use the end of this moss pole. You know, you just reach for what you got. Gonna squeeze the pot and pop it out. I am gonna disinfect this pot though. I'm gonna disinfect it. I'm not gonna reuse it until I do that. Okay, let's see. Getting all the dirt, all the soil out of the roots because I want the roots to be in fresh soil. It's gonna take a whipping, but we'll be just fine. We're gonna take really good care of this plant and keep a really close eye on it. And Micans aren't super rare anymore. They had their time during the pandemic, as most plants did, where they were really sought after and people just really, really loved them. And now you can get them just about anywhere. They were a little bit rare at one point, but not anymore. Before I get started, because once I get my hands on the plant, I'm not going to really want to mess with it too much. I have a 3-pot holder thingy. I've got a 4-wire hanger. So I'm gonna just cut the hanger. So now that it's 3, and then I will use this to make little clips. I make clips, so if I need them to hold things down, I've got them. So I'm gonna do that later, just for sake of time. And we're gonna start here. So I'm gonna put the soil. This is my cactus soil. I did add a little bit of peat to it because I'm dealing with Micans, and they like it a little wet. Cora's barking at something. It's 4th of July weekend, so I'm sure there's... Cora, quiet! I'm sure there's people out having barbecues and stuff. Thank you, ma'am. Come inside. If any of you have dachshunds, you know they don't listen very well. See? There we go. Anyway, Cora, quiet! All right, I'm gonna put my Micans, let's see, I think that way. So I'm gonna put it here. Let me get a better shot of what I'm doing here so y'all can see a little better. All right. I'm going to set it in here. Put this one over here. I try to avoid the little holes where I'm going to put the wire. They've been quiet all day until I start to record. That's just how it's gonna work. So we're just gonna have to deal with it. Dogs. All right, I'm gonna come on the side here. I'm not packing the soil very tightly in the middle around the roots, just around the side of the pot. And I'm probably gonna pin some of these down. I've got all these roots, so I'm gonna bury those. Shake it around so it gets in between those roots. When you water it, it'll do more of that. It's okay that this root is not wanting to cooperate. It's all right. All right, looks a little bald on top, but that's okay. We'll deal with it. I'm planning on putting this plant up high, so you're not gonna see the top of it anyway. I'm going to go ahead and do this, and then I'll put the clips in. Trying to figure out what I'm doing here without trying to damage the plants. Okay, there we go. That is pretty straight. You can bend these wires after you go to hang your plant so that it hangs straight. I'm gonna put a couple of pins in here so that when I'm watering these, they don't fall out and they stay in their pot. Oops, what happened? I lost one. Is that right? Oh, there it is. It's like bobby pins for plants. They're really great because you can train your plants to grow a certain way using these pins, and I use them pretty much on any vining plant that I repot. All right. I didn't put fertilizer in here because this is brand new soil and it comes with fertilizer in it. If you buy commercial soil, it comes with fertilizer. And with my philodendrons and my Hoya and my aeroids, and my anthuriums really, I use a fertilizer that's natural called Maxi. And it's real gentle because I've repotted this plant and I do not want to stress it out with any extra fertilizer because this is brand new soil and the brand new soils usually have fertilizer in them. So, all right, thanks for joining me. I'm gonna go hang this up. I'm gonna water it, I'm gonna hang it up, and then I'll show you where I'm gonna put it. I'm going to make sure to put it in the shade. All right, here is the Micans. I have watered it. I untangled it a little bit more. It's under an awning and it's got shade where it's going to keep shade for about a week before I move it into filtered light because that's what they like. Alrighty, thanks guys.